All right, guys, welcome to this player interview for the Transfer Portal CFB podcast. We are here with Adam, and we got a very special guest. We got Wisconsin safety Collin Wilder. Collin, man, how you doing?
I'm good. I appreciate y'all having me on.
So, Adam, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Almost the weekend. Can't complain. Got college football back, so I'm good. I'm happy.
Sounds good. So, Collin, we're just gonna go right into it. How are you feeling, man? Because we obviously got the news a couple days ago about the injury that you got from the Minnesota game ended up being a little bit more severe than what was originally planned. How are you recovering? How's your back feeling? If you want, you could tell us a little bit like what it is, because I'm gonna be honest with you, when I read it, I felt like I was in anatomy class.
Yeah. So, I'm feeling good. I'm still obviously in the recovering process. I should be recovered by the end of the first week of January, naturally, thankfully. But yeah, so it happened on the hit versus Minnesota, the first play of the game. For people who didn't watch, I got ejected for targeting on the first play of the game. There was a slant route, and I hit him with my shoulder. I didn't even hit him with my head. Hit him with my shoulder, and
yeah, I watched it live. I was pissed.
Yeah, a call I definitely disagree with. But at the end of the day, it ended up kind of being a blessing, because when I got off my adrenaline went away, and I came back on the sideline, and I just I was just sitting around for a little bit. I started to feel this tightness behind my neck, kind of my upper back, lower part of my neck area, and it was like right on my vertebrae, and I was a little like that area is kind of something you don't really play with when it comes to playing football. And when you throw your body around, you want to make sure that stuff is intact and healthy. So I asked for an X-ray, and everything came back fine. But I went back to Wisconsin after the game. We got an MRI, and it ended up stretching this ligament that's connected to my spine, and that ligament keeps the spine stable. So they basically said, like, if you were to play in this game, because it takes 6 weeks to heal, if you were to play in this game, like the Las Vegas Bowl, I'd be coming back early. My spine would still be unstable when I would go in to hit people. And I like to come downhill. I pride myself in throwing my body around and putting my body on the line for my teammates. So that's definitely something that I knew that I would 100% be at risk for. And they basically said, if you want to play football, at the next level, don't play in this game. And so that was, I mean, the one thing that would probably keep me out of this game was an injury like that. So, but yeah, it's been going well. I'm still trying to figure out how to sleep like comfortably and sleep to where I don't wake up and my neck's irritated. I mean, there's several things. I mean, I'm still trying to learn as we go here, but I can still like lift weights and work out, and just can't quite get up to running yet. But I'll be able to run like the next couple weeks or so, hopefully. And so, I mean, it's an ongoing process, but I mean, in 6 weeks, it's something serious that I have to take, very seriously. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm truly grateful though that I did get ejected from that game, because if I would have kept playing with my spine being unstable, I mean, there could have been some catastrophic injuries there. So God was really looking out for me. I mean, obviously, I hate the way that my career ended here. Not the way I wanted it to, but I am truly, just grateful that I can still keep playing this game, and even more importantly, I have a good quality of life still to live. So there's a lot of good things that came out of it, but obviously I wish I could be out there on for my last game with these guys.
So you were kind of like saying like a little bit, it's gonna be a bit of a two-parter, but you obviously said you were surprised to learn the severity of it, because when you came off, you were still a little bit high on adrenaline, and it took a little bit of a while to relax a bit. Are you still close to the team? Are you still with the team? Are you still traveling to Las Vegas with the team? What's now that you know that you're not playing, what's your role within the program as of now?
Yeah. I mean, I can't even practice. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a game time decision, let's try to practice. I can't do any of that. So I've kind of tried to take on a role as kind of like a coach. I kind of want to, now that I know for sure I'm not playing, I want to see the the point of view of what a coach sees, how a coach prepares, and just how I can help these guys, not only for this game, but help these guys going into the next season and carrying some momentum. So trying to take more of a coach approach. I've been hanging out with Coach Leonard up in his office, helping, like I'm pulling a bunch of weight here, but just watching film with him and learning from him and learning how he prepares games and learn how, I've kind of got an idea, but it's just good to, I'm a lot more involved in the game plan behind the scenes right now. Just from seeing like what Coach Leonard's thinking and how we can prepare a good game plan against Arizona State in the Vegas Bowl. So it's a different point of view, different aspect of it. But thankfully, these guys, my teammates, are willing to listen to me, even if if I see anything, if I go up to them and say, hey, this is, you could have used this technique, or in this call, make sure you keep your eyes here. Just little coaching points like that. Guys are willing to listen, and so I can still provide some good value here to the team, which I'm grateful for. And I'll definitely I'll be traveling to the game and everything too. So just doing everything, but not being on the field.
Everything but practicing, essentially. But no, that's really good, because you're obviously one of the oldest guys on the team, so it feels like you can provide a lot of leadership to these guys. Back to a little bit on your hit in that Minnesota game. Let's just be honest. It's hard to play defense at this level at this point, because you just never know when these targets are going to come in. It feels like it's such as a disadvantages. In your own words, how hard would you say it is to play safety in the college game with the dangers of an unintentional targeting penalty? Because that seems to be the main thing. Like, there are times where you look at hits and I'm just like, I was a defensive guy in high school. I'm kind of looking at it, I'm just like, what the hell is he supposed to do?
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's what we think about, probably 90 to 95% of the time that this flag happens, or that this penalty happens. So, people, especially if you haven't played the game, like if you haven't been in that situation on that field, breaking on the slant route, you don't understand how hard it is to make that decision in that quick of a second. But also, when you're thinking on the field, that's when you play slow. That's when you start playing slower, and you start being more careful. When you're more careful, actually, there's a higher chance of you getting hurt. When you're thinking in a physical game like this, when you're trying to run around and be as physical as possible, if you're thinking in these moments, that's really when you get hurt. So, you have to just react and go. And that's something for me personally that I like to not do, is think, in the game. I like to just react. And when I just react, I play fast. And when you play fast, you make plays. And, that's the way football is supposed to be played. And so it's frustrating. And I truly think the people who make these rules haven't been in the situations that I've been in, or a lot of these guys in college football have. And I just hope they change the rules so that, it can help kids like myself, not have to get ejected, the first play of the game. Because I felt like I was suspended for the entire game because it was the first play. So, it felt like I was out the whole game. So, obviously, if you take the injury out of it, I truly think that, that rule truly needs to be changed. And personally, I think if I would have actually used my head, I would use my head instead of my shoulder, I would have probably been healthy right now. The receiver who I hit, he probably would have felt it a little bit more, but I think I would have been healthier if I would actually use my head. So, it's frustrating in that area. When you try to do the right thing, and one, you get kicked out, and two, you still get injured from it. So it's again, I'm truly thankful that I did in that certain specific situation. But if I was healthy, I would have a lot of angry
choice
emotions
words
towards. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm keeping everything clean right now, but it was a tough, really tough game overall to accept, but that outcome was, that was tough.
Because I was gonna say, because like it feels like whenever you're like from Pop Warner to middle school to even high school, it feels like the first thing the defensive coaches tell you is, I remember it, they'll tell you like, not like lean into the defensive player, but like lean your head across. You know what I mean? Like lean across the jersey numbers. And it feels like if you took somebody in my position, same age group, put them in that same game today, I feel like I'd be ejected every single game just because the way I was coached back then. So now it's essentially like you gotta learn a new game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was taught growing up too. Use the screws, hit them with the screws of your helmet. That's how I was taught. And I mean, honestly, when you hit in this area right here, I think that's the strongest part of this whole area. And when I hit him here with my shoulder, I mean, I specifically trained my body around using my shoulders and using for injury prevention. And I mean, I still used my shoulder and ended up absorbing like all of his body, and I still like had a severe injury from it. So, I just like you said, I was coached the same way, and it's a tough thing to adjust to in any habit, but let alone in football when you're playing 100 miles an hour in a game and you have to make these split time decisions. I mean, the defensive players are at a huge disadvantage. And I mean, if it happens once, I would say, okay, throw the flag. Don't take the guy out of the game. If it happens twice, you give him a warning. If it happens twice, okay, maybe you could think about, getting him out of the game. But I mean, in 1 second, when like it's such a tough thing to judge on, I mean, it's not fair. I don't think it's fair at all.
So speaking of like, defensive mindset and like plays and all that, Adam he's actually going to refer to a play from a couple weeks ago that where it really put a safety at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. It's funny you mentioned like playing fast. What do you think about the Kenny Pickett fake slide? Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, I truly, when I watched the play, when he fake slid, it's like everybody like just stopped. And I think like you're not really playing to the whistle. Like I think there was a guy like maybe 10 yards away that still stopped. And then he ended up kept running and eventually scored. But I mean, I think I was talking with my coaches about this is like the concern shouldn't have been the fake slide. The concern should have been like let's see what happens on a fake slide if somebody played all the way through the whistle. And that's why I think that's a very overlooked part of the whole thing. Because I'm just putting myself in that situation. If that guy's starting to slow down like this, like his feet are just starting to kind of just start to get choppy, if he's not on the ground, I'm still going to try to run through him. And if he ends up sliding when like it happened to be perfect timing, it's like, okay, like that's tough. That's a tough one. You got to throw the flag maybe for a late hit or whatever in this day and age is probably what they would do. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but what I don't like is the fact that the NCAA changed that rule so quickly when really they should be focusing on the targeting rule and how they can make that better, because the fake slide, that not every quarterback can do that. Not every quarterback's going to do that. But this targeting situation keeps happening over and over and over, and they have to figure out how they can change that to make it better. And I just didn't like how they were so on top of changing this rule before even thinking about changing anything about the targeting rule.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But I do have to ask you something. I'm not sure you've been keeping up with your former high school, but we do have the Texas State Championship games this weekend. And I remember you won in 2015. I'm a Dallas guy, no. I got 2 Houston guys with me, but I just want to know what's it like to play in that state championship game and win it nonetheless.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it is every Texas high school football player's dream, to play in Jerry World, or I mean, we played at NRG Stadium my senior year, but I mean, the road to Jerry World was always, the dream, always the goal. And I mean, especially for guys who may not have the opportunity to play at the next level. I mean, it's everyone's Super Bowl, growing up in Texas. So, I mean, it's truly special, especially coming up to Wisconsin, and we're coming up to, playing college football, and you hear from everybody's high school experiences around the country. And I mean, there's just nothing like Texas high school football. And it's truly a blessing to be able to experience that. I mean, playing in front of 45,000 plus people in high school is just absurd. And, there's just so much pride around it. And for you to be able to get to that stage and to make history, a part of such a historic historic sport in the state of Texas. I mean, it's a dream come true. It is truly like the funnest time in high school.
I think it's not just the
Yeah.
game itself, but like I'm literally looking at that 2015 schedule right here. You had 10 shutouts the entire season. That in itself should not be possible. You actually went up against De'Aaron King against Manville during the playoff run. I mean, what's it like just to be part of a unit like that? I mean, this is a Katy team that was that's in talks for being the best Texas high school team of all time. Like what was
Yeah.
like what was different about that team that most other Texas high schools don't have?
I mean, well, obviously, I think our defense, we had at least 9 of the 11 guys had Division I offers in that group. So, I mean, obviously, we had the talent, but I mean, the thing about Katy High School is we have fantastic coaching. I mean, Gary Joseph does a great job there of developing guys and giving them the idea that like every week is a game plan. You have to prepare for a team every week. It's not like you can just line up and play football. So there's a part of preparation at Katy that really makes it different than any other place, in my opinion. So the coaches do a great job there. We had great coaching, but then you combine great coaching with talent, and then you had the leadership of guys who cared about each other. I mean, these are all guys who grew up together, grew up with each other, and dreamed about playing together, in a Katy Tiger uniform. So, when you combine all those three things together, good coaching, good players, good leadership, and love for each other. I mean, it made every game just so much fun. It was very easy to go up to get out there every day and put the time in, put the work in, because we had to put in the time. We had to put in a lot of work each week to prepare for these teams. I mean, De'Aaron at Manville High School, I mean, they were a fantastic team. They probably produced, I mean, a ridiculous amount of Division I guys in that one year. It was like 16 or something stupid. And then we ended up playing Lake Travis in the state championship, which had a lot of great players on it too. But then that Lake Travis team ended up blowing everybody out the next year because they had a lot of juniors coming back. So, I mean, it just shows just how how talented that group was at Katy, and I was just glad to be a part of it. I mean, it was a special group.
Yeah, sure. I'm jealous. I went to Skyline High School in Dallas, and we were so close one year, and we just fell short to South Lake.
Y'all have a great program. Y'all really do.
Yeah, former head coach is playing. He's coaching at Duncanville right now, so I'm rooting for them this weekend. I'll go up there and watch the game.
Oh, okay. Is that Coach Samples?
Coach Sam, yeah.
Yeah. I know his son. I played ball with him my freshman year at Houston.
Rashad.
So yeah, Rashad.
Of course.
Great
It's
dude.
funny you mentioned Houston, though. I was going to ask you, what made you choose to go from Houston all the way up to Wisconsin? Because I know it gets cold up there, and us Texas folks, we don't like the cold like that.
Yeah. No, it was. I mean, I got recruited by Wisconsin out of high school. I had an offer from them, and that's another story of why I chose Houston. But I thought, really going to Houston, keeping the best players in Houston and having, we signed a really good recruiting class. We had Ed Oliver, we had De'Aaron King, we had Marquez Stevenson, who's now playing for the Bills too. We have we had a big number of guys who were like, oh man, this is some elite talent staying in Houston. And when I saw all that, I thought, why not do something different? And Coach Tom Herman at the time, he was a great recruiter. They did a great job recruiting. And I jumped on board. I jumped on the train. I wanted to see if we could do something different that had really never been done before. And the goal was technically to do something like what Cincinnati's doing this year. And that was the goal for us at Houston, and why we signed there, because all these guys had offers from bigger schools, and we chose to stay home. And I wanted to be a part of that. And Coach Tom Herman, he ended up leaving the next year. It was a pretty crazy story. Our last game, actually, my freshman year, when this whole head coaching talks were going on with him, we were in the hotel in Memphis, about to play Memphis the next day, our last regular season game, and we were all watching the Texas A&M versus LSU game, and we're all in the dining area eating dinner, and all of a sudden it pops up, breaking news: Tom Herman to sign with LSU. It wasn't Texas, it was LSU.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we're all kind of looking at each other, and so we have a separate room where you watch movies. You can like watch a movie with the team, or you can eat, or you can play games, whatever. And so Coach Herman was in the movie room. He wasn't in that room when we all saw that. But when that popped up, we were all looking at each other like, what? Like, what's going on? And, and I was looking right at one of our position coaches, and he's like, I guess I better start looking for a job. Like he didn't know. He didn't know. So that was a crazy part about that whole story. But basically, he ends up leaving after that. Actually, the next day after the game, he ends up leaving for Texas. And there was a new coaching staff. I didn't mind it. I wanted to see what I could do, there with the new coaching staff. That wasn't really the issue quite yet. But all in all, I ended up leaving Houston after I got hurt my sophomore year. I tore my PCL, ended up getting surgery. It was like a 9-month process. So I was in like month 5, and we were in the middle of spring ball, and they ended up padding me up in full pads. And I was just in the corner during practice doing push-ups, sit-ups, bear crawls, all this stuff. And I'm like 5 months into my recovery process. I can't really do much, but I'm like doing like these punishment workouts. I know some schools do that, but these coaches are telling me, oh, Collin, you're a leader. You can help this team out. Well, there's a lot of new guys coming in, JUCO guys, some transfers who are trying to learn the defense, and I can help them. And instead you have me, one of your leaders, in a corner of, the entire practice. I can't do anything like that. And I tried to, vouch to change that. And a lot of coaches, especially the strength staff running that area, didn't really like that very much. And at that point, they were kind of trying to run me out of Houston. And it got to a point to where I was like, look, I don't have to be here anymore. I gave my all to this program. I left bigger offers on the table to come here. And now I'm on like my 3rd position coach in 2 years. We have a whole new coaching staff that I didn't even commit to. And then now, like, I'm trying to stay here and do the right thing. And y'all are running me out when I'm trying to be a leader for this team. I'm trying to help this team out and develop these guys while I'm hurt. And so I ended up, before the transfer portal, actually, you had to ask your coach for your release. And so I ended up actually telling my high school coach, because you can't talk to college coaches while you're still at another school. So I had my high school coach, see if anybody could be possibly interested in me. And by the time, a couple weeks later, I get pulled out of our meetings for my position coach at Houston. And he's like, hey, I don't know what your plans are, because I was waiting to see if anybody would be interested before I could even like ask for my release, before I could go. And I got pulled out of the meeting, and my position coach was like, I don't know what's going on, but I got coaches calling me, asking me if you're leaving. If that's your plan, you better tell your head coach right now. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I got to talk to this guy today. I got to talk to him today.
Too late now, can't go back.
Yeah, like they know, like, and I don't even know. I haven't heard anything from any coaches being interested at this time. So I had to go up to Coach Applewhite at the time, give him my full honest opinion on why I wanted to leave, and why what I disagreed with. I mean, I gave him everything of what my thoughts were, and we had a great relationship though. I never really stepped on any toes or burned any bridges. Coach Applewhite gladly gave me my release because I wanted it, and he did it. He did a fantastic job of just treating me well that way. But yeah, I ended up getting my release, and I remember coming back my townhome in downtown Houston, and I was just like, what the heck just happened? Like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know who's interested. So it was a wild time. It was a wild time, but that was really the sole reason why I left. Was there? I mean, there were a number of things that kind of built up over time.
Yeah, I mean, the outline that had our line of questions, for this interview, one of them, we put a little note underneath why did you leave, UH, and in that little subtitle we put, did you leave because Major Applewhite? Because we wouldn't have blamed you if you did, but
Yeah.
he's not exactly the most popular figure among the UH people, but we'll call it good terms for right now.
I say we definitely left on good terms. I will say that. We had mutual respect for each other. It was just, I think it got to a point to where just the way wasn't just him. I mean, it was a number of people around the program that made it tough for me to stay there.
Now, you talked about going back to your townhome. You didn't have an offer yet. You didn't know who was interested. When did Wisconsin come calling? What got you attracted to the program? And what shocked you about just being in the state of Wisconsin once you got there?
Yeah. So I ended up I had a ton of junior colleges reach out to me. I knew I didn't want to go JUCO. I thought, I could, my number one thing was to hit up coaches who recruited me in the past, see if they were still interested. And nobody really responded to me. Sam Houston reached out and gave me an offer. And Lamar University, who's also in the Southland Conference. They both reached out to me, gave me an offer. And I appreciated it very much because they were the first ones like, hey, let's bet on this kid who's still, going through surgery and still recovering from a knee surgery. And so I appreciated that. But I mean, for whatever reason, I just thought, Wisconsin was such a good fit for me. I was thinking that for a number of months before that, even before I thought about transferring. I just thought, man, if I would have went to Wisconsin, I think I would have really fit well there. So once I got my release, I was really hanging out back at Katy High School with my coaches for a while and working out there. And I told them about my interest in Wisconsin. They said, well, we're actually going to a clinic up there, a coaching clinic up there next week. We'll mention your name to them and see if they're interested. I'm like, that would be fantastic. And so they come back and they said, well, they don't have an offer for you, but they're interested. And I said, well, what if I walked on? They said, okay, well, we'll let them know. And Ted Gilmore at the time, our receivers coach here, who's now at Michigan State, he recruited me when I was in high school and recruited this area. Well, I get a DM from Ted Gilmore, Coach Gilmore, like the next day saying, give me a call. So they were interested as soon as they heard that I was willing to walk on. And we ended up setting up a visit. I saw like their last week of spring ball. I met with Coach Leonard, met with Coach Chris. It was more of a business trip. I didn't care about the putting on the jersey and having a photo shoot and all that junk. I didn't care about that. I just wanted to find my fit. I wanted to find somewhere where I knew that I could fall in love with the game again and fit well in. And I mean, really, when I came up there, I kind of already knew like it was going to be a good fit. And so yeah, that's when I made the decision to walk on up there. And I wanted to bet on myself and truly, I really wanted to truly show a team how valuable I could be. And so when I got up here, the biggest shock. I mean, obviously it's the weather. I would say that the biggest thing is walking to class. So after my first season here, when I had to sit out for a year, I was it's winter time now. It's like winter off season, January, February, March, like in that time. I mean, it's snowing all the time. I think it got down to like 55 below. There was like a polar vortex that hit that winter, and they got into like negative 55. But I mean, there's ice all over the sidewalk, and I didn't know how to walk in ice. Like I never knew how. So I probably 4 or 5 times I'm walking to class or I'm walking from the grocery store, and I just slip and just nail my tail on the sidewalk. I mean, the ice, and when it's that cold, like everything hurts. So you fall and you just, I mean, I probably lay on the ground for like 10, 15 seconds, just thinking like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't like, where am I right now? What's going on? So that was probably the biggest transition, was learning how to walk in the ice. And I mean, the snow is not bad until it melts. Once it melts here, it gets all brown and slushy and nasty. I didn't know about that. I just think when I think of snow growing up in Texas, it's pretty, it's white, it sticks to the
Yeah,
ground, it's
no.
fluffy. No, once it snows, I mean, it'll melt right on your hoodie, and all of a sudden, like your hoodie, it feels like it just rained, and it's just 10 to 20 degrees when
I
you
will
add
say
that in. So
I will say this. I was in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago because we actually went to the Nebraska game. Congratulations
oh,
on
okay,
congratulations on the master's degree, by the way.
I appreciate it.
And it was funnily enough because that week it was relatively warm as Wisconsin could be around that time. It's like 30s, low 40s, upper 30s. And I remember the day that my flight was heading back here to Houston, we had flurries just coming in like right away. And when I because I was with my uncle at the time, he was like, "Don't you miss the snow?" And I'm like, "No, because it looks pretty now. I stay here for another 2 weeks. I'm gonna absolutely hate it with my guts." So I was like, "I gotta get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
You were talking about, you met with Coach Leonard, Jim Leonard. What would you say is like to play for his defense? What is he like as a coach, but also as a person?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Leonard is the smartest football mind I've ever been around, and it's not like he's smart and he kind of just leaves it at that. Well, he loves ball, like he loves it. He loves doing what he does. He does a great job in the off season too of getting himself better, which I think is different than a lot of coaches. Is he finds the flaws in what he was doing all season, um, and he ends up finding a way to still improve the defense, even though it was like a top 5 defense, in the country. Obviously, he keeps what he likes and stuff, but like one of the biggest things that he does in the offseason is he looks for the holes that might be created from some play calls that he was dialing up. So he's just a true defensive mind, defensive guru. He loves putting safeties in position to make plays because he's been in that position before. And it's real easy. It's real easy to listen to what he has to say, not only because he's smart, but because he's done it. I mean, I think he finished with like 25 career interceptions here at Wisconsin, 3-time All-American, played in the NFL for 10 years. Like as a safety, you come into this program, you're willing to learn no matter what he says because you trust it because he's done it. He has a very unique perspective that not many college coaches have, when it comes to coaching and developing players. So, and people think that with a guy so successful and so smart that he's probably just super tensed up all the time. Obviously he's an intense guy when it's time to compete, but when it comes to going about the business of preparing, I mean, the guy is very he's very I wouldn't say mellow, but he's very laid back. He's very laid back, and I think part of that is because of his confidence. He's one of the most confident guys that I know, and I think the way his confidence, the way he carries himself around the building is contagious to everyone else. And I think it's helped my confidence out just being around him. But I mean, that's just the type of guy he is. And it helps when you have a coach like that. So when you make mistakes, which happens to everybody, you make mistakes, you do stuff that on the field that you may have not wanted to do or have a play you wish you could get back. I mean, he talks to you like how we're talking right now. It's very just very even kill. And it's just very confident. He comes off as a very confident guy, regardless of the situation or outcome. But it is fun when he gets competitive and a fire gets lit up in him during the game, because it starts to spread around the entire sideline, and it gets everybody going. And but no, he's a special guy, and he's a special man off the field. He's helped me just stay relaxed, helped me handle things like what happened to my neck. He's helped me how to handle what comes with the game. And he said a couple of years ago, that's always stuck with me, is you can love the game, but the game may not always love you back. And I've tried to hold on to that, because that's just the way that the business of the game is. And it's allowed me to accept the things that come with playing this game, but also it's allowed me to accept and he showed me how to handle success too. So I mean, this guy is truly special, truly special, and he still finds a way to not only be a great coach but be a great father, be a great husband. You go to his house and his kids. He's got 3 boys, and they're all pretty young right now, and you see these pictures of them playing, like pictures with their team basketball, their team like youth basketball team, and he's one of the coaches. I mean, that's unheard of for a college coach, and let alone a very successful coach like him. He does a great job staying involved with his family and being there for his kids, and that's inspiring to me, especially wanting to be a coach and wanting to be involved in this game for a long time, but still have a family. He's a special guy on and off the field.
Wow, damn.
Yeah.
I was going to say one last thing. Scale of 1 to 10. How scared were you when there were rumors that he was going to be the defensive coordinator of the Packers? Just rumors,
Yeah. Well, we didn't believe it at first because he's gotten offers from Alabama. He's gotten offers from Texas A&M, UCLA, the LA Rams. I mean, he's gotten some really good offers, and he's turned down all of them because he wants to be here. He wants to be in Wisconsin. He wants to help this program win and do things that this program's never done before. And when the Packer job opened up, we knew it was still in Wisconsin, and we're like, well, this might be a little real. And he did give it a chance. He did go and he interviewed, and he did tell us, he was open about it. He said, just approaching the elephant in the room. He said, I am applying for the Packer job. He's like, I don't know what's going to come out of it. I don't know if I want it. I love you guys. I love here. I want to be here, but it's just something I want to go look at. And I'm like, look, coach, you've earned every right to go do that. So we just don't want to lose you. I still want to be coached by you, at least for one more year. So yeah, I mean, that was real. And then, I mean, they offered him the job. They did. And I mean, it wasn't shocking because of, I mean, as soon as he probably interviewed and got on the whiteboard and showed his style, I mean, I'm sure the Packers wanted him right away. So yeah, I was nervous. I was legit nervous. I remember I sent him a text the night before he made his decision, like, hey, coach, just want you to know I appreciate everything you've done. You deserve whatever you choose to do. You truly deserve it. And he didn't text me back, but I woke up the next morning to our DB group chat, and I see 20 text messages. I'm like, oh gosh, like I was nervous. I opened it up, and the first text, I scroll all the way up. The first text is quit being so damn scared. Some of y'all owe me some money or something like that. Just joking around. That's him. He's a very sarcastic guy, and he jokes around more than he is serious, especially in a text message. Like when he's texting with us, that guy loves to joke around. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord. Like he's staying with us. So yeah, no, I'm truly grateful that he did, because I mean, he's really helped me have not only the best season personally for me that I've ever had in college and probably in my career so far, but he's just helped me have just so much fun playing football. And I love going to work with him every day. I mean, I just got back from being in his office not too long ago, just hanging out and watching film. And he loves ball, and he loves coaching guys. He loves developing guys. And I'm truly grateful just to be a part of that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Coach Leonard is an elite level coach. I'm sure he'll be a head coach, maybe at Wisconsin one day. I'm sure that's his goal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think being a head coach for him, wasn't as much of a goal for him when he first got into coaching. But I'm sure the more success he has, the more he's probably like, that would be kind of fun. I'm sure. I haven't talked to him about it, but I can see him wanting to be a head coach at some point.
Well, I'm curious, what worked on the field with the players? Why were y'all so good this year? Because y'all were lights out, top 3 defense in the country. I think y'all were better than Georgia. So what
I appreciate that.
The players on the field?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, you add Coach Leonard and his game plan, but then you also you have a group of guys. And I think what made this group so special was this was the closest group. I think we can all attest to it. This is the closest group that we've ever had since the guys have been at Wisconsin. We're very close on the field. We're very close off the field. And when you're close off the field, when you get on the field, it's very easy to communicate. It's very easy to handle success and handle failure together. And when you add that and you add a strong bond of love and trust, that you trust that they're going to do their job. And when you love a guy so much that you're willing to put your body on the line and be unselfish and do your job so that he can make a play. I think that's what it was. And then obviously you add, I think we have truly a bunch of talent on that defense. I think every single guy on that defense is capable of playing in the NFL. And, I hope every guy gets their chance to showcase that. But when you add all those things together and you add Coach Leonard's scheme and game plan to it, and guys willing to be coached and knowing how to prepare each week for a game, it was a great combo. And I think we were confident every single week that we could shut down whatever we needed to. I mean, we weren't perfect, but we were very consistent in our approach, and we were consistently good, which ended up making us, a top 3 defense, which I personally think number 1. That's just my opinion.
I agree. I do want to ask about one of your teammates. He's one of the biggest rising stars in the game right now. From my hometown, actually. This is a guy that you're probably 6 or 7 years older than. And I'm talking about Braylon Allen.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think you're 6 or 7 years older than him?
I'm 6. No, I might be 7 actually.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm 6. I'm 6. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to be too old, but yeah, I'm 6 years older than that guy.
So how does he carry himself among like teammates, locker room, maturity? Because he's obviously getting the spotlight all over him. He's probably going to be in a preseason first team All Big Ten next year. He's going to be talks for a preseason All American. Obviously, he's got to earn it first, but he's just absolutely come onto the scene. Wasn't even supposed to be in this position. He essentially started on the 4th string. How does he carry himself among teammates, his maturity? How has he handled all the spotlight, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think he did a great job showing up here and just putting his head down and working. This guy, we knew he was physically gifted. We knew that he could play really whatever position he wanted to play. Going from spring ball, going into the fall camp, we knew we needed some running backs. We needed some depth in that area. And, he unselfishly wanted to help that room. And, he showed a lot of flashes in camp. He was the 4th running back, so I never really got to play against them or practice against them. But, watching him go against our defense, you could see flashes of physical ability and physical gifts. The guy, really just got out of high school. He's obviously, at what everybody says, he's 17 years old, but you add in though that the fact of he's never really played running back consistently. He played it last year, his senior year, and did really well. But it's not like this guy's been a developing running back. He's just kind of just been a ball player. And it was pretty amazing seeing just him just jump in there, and you could see some vision starting to develop for him, and the way he can make some cuts, and obviously his physical strength helps with that too. But I remember in fall camp, he was still the 4th running back at the time, and we were in the weight room, and I was like, "What's up, Bray? How's learning the offense going? How's everything going?" And he's like, "It's going pretty good. It's going all right." He's like, "I think I'm going to play linebacker next year." And I was like, "Well, obviously you probably could, but you never know what can happen this year, man. A lot of stuff, the football season is long, and there's a lot of things that happen during that season. There's injuries, and obviously now with the transfer portal being so real, I didn't even consider that at the time. But I told him, I was like, you never know what can happen, man. Just be ready, be ready for your chance, and be ready for your opportunity. And obviously now, look at him. He was obviously ready. He was ready for his opportunity to go out there, and he's done a fantastic job for us. He's been the spark for our offense that we needed. And, I'm incredibly proud of him. The guy is very unselfish, and he just shows up every day and goes to work. He's a pretty soft-spoken kid, very quiet. But when you start to get to know him and you start getting closer to him, comes out of his shell a little bit. And we do during the season every Thursday, me and a bunch of my best friends here, we run the crumble cookies and grab some cookies, and every Thursday. And there's like 3 freshmen who are who always ask for cookies when we drive our way back. We drop them off at the dorms, and he's one of those guys that wants some cookies. So we always drop him off, and I mean, he's always so excited to get his cookies. Like, he's a little kid. He's really just like a little kid in a grown man's body. That's really what he is. But no, I've enjoyed getting to know him this year, getting to play with him. It's been an honor to do that, just to be a small part of his journey, because the sky's the limit for that guy. But I'm really excited for him. He's the real deal, and I'm really, really thankful he was on our team this year. I'm glad he reclassed.
If Jim Leonard was the head coach and not Paul Chryst, would he have been on the defensive side?
I don't know. It's I think it was. I mean, people have asked him that story all the time, and I think
I've heard that
really,
there's been discussion between the two.
I'm sure there was a debate. I'm sure there was, and I'm sure they're just like, all right, like let's put him here and let's just feel him out. But I'm sure Coach Leonard was ready. Like, if things didn't work out, I'm sure he was ready to bring him over to the defensive side of the ball. But Coach Leonard nicknames him War Machine from Iron Man. The other superhero calls him War Machine because that's just what he's built like. And that nickname stuck around our locker room. So it's we appreciate.
Is that why his Twitter avatar is War Machine?
Yeah, because Coach Leonard started that. Yeah, Coach Leonard started calling him War Machine, and now everybody will call him War Machine when he's on the field. And it's funny because he doesn't really acknowledge it, but then he puts it like as his Instagram, Twitter profile, or his Instagram profile pic, and so it's like clearly he likes it. So.
Now let's go to your hoodie there. I want to go back to the Iowa game earlier this year, Grit Factory. Where did that start? Who came up with it? Because I remember during that Iowa game, that hat just came out, and I was just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. So me and one of my best friends here, he actually transferred, and he's going to play baseball at Houston now. He played quarterback here. He's going to play baseball at Houston. Ended up transferring, earning a scholarship there, but he's one of my best friends. We always share ideas off of each other. Just we'll text each other randomly and just create some sort of branding idea that we think is either funny or people would love. And I texted him one night in August. I was like, dude, the Grit Factory. And I was like, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. But dude, we could use that with something. People would love the Grit Factory. And so I ended up making a Twitter account called the Grit Factory. And back in August, and I literally made it just to recognize grit, if you go on my Twitter page, the Grit Factory Twitter page, and you scroll all the way down in the media section, I mean, you see I tweeted a bunch of stuff, but there's an example of a surgeon operating on his own hand, and the surgery was successful. That is so gritty. I think that should be recognized. So it was a Twitter account just to tweet stuff like that. And I had maybe 7 guys on my team follow it. So the guys on my team knew about it. But I didn't care about the followers or anything. I just did it for fun. And my boy, Daniel Wright, who I texted this idea to, we both shared the account. So I gave him the sign in and the login stuff of the account. And so Halloween came around, and me and one of my other best friends here, we're looking for Halloween costumes, and we find these mechanic looking jumpsuits, and I'm like, oh dude, we can be factory workers. Let's be factory workers. And there's a trucker hat right next to the suit that we could buy. And I was like, dude, let's be workers from the Grit Factory. We'll write Grit Factory on the hat, and we'll be that's what we'll be for Halloween. And we're laughing and stuff. We're like, all right, let's do it, joking around. And it's on Friday before we go have meetings and have a quick practice and go to the hotel. And so I come back home, I write the Grit Factory on it. I'm like, I'm gonna wear this to the facility. I think guys would like it because they've heard about the Grit Factory before. So I wear it to the facility, and guys are like, oh, that's sick, or they're laughing, they're getting a good kick out of it. And a couple guys like start mentioning like, dude, we should put that on the sideline like when we get a turnover. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Like, let's not tell anybody. So let's not make it a big deal to where we're like, we have to force them to get turnovers just so we can wear it. Like, I don't want it to be a distraction. So I didn't tell anybody besides the guys that we talked to. And our strength staff snuck it out there before the game. And, obviously we ended up getting a bunch of turnovers that game on a big stage and against a really good team and a highly ranked team at the time. So it just kind of naturally just happened. Like it just happened and it blew up from then on. And, ever since then, so during that game though, Daniel Wright, my boy who has the Twitter account with me, he changed the Twitter account from the Grit Factory to the Grit Factory hat. And I ended up tagging the account like when I posted a picture after the game, and it went from like 7 followers to 300 within like 2 or 3 hours. Like it was ridiculous. And then now it's gotten up to like 1,200 followers since then. And I mean, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. And obviously merchandise and stuff is all blown up from that too. And Big Cat's gotten involved, Barstool's gotten involved, and it's been really cool. It's been a really cool experience, especially to capitalize on what NIL can be used for, so it's cool.
I was about to say, you're getting royalties from it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
it. That's important. That's
the thing. I needed to jump on it before other people did. I feel like if somebody was going to get money from it, I wanted it to be me before like some random person started to, try to make some money off of it. So I ended up, Graham Mertz actually knew Big Cat personally. So I called Graham. I said, hey, can you tell Big Cat like my idea and give him my contact? Like, I think he would love this idea. And Big Cat ended up texting me a couple days later.
he ate it up.
Yeah. And he wanted to do it. Well, I saw it on his My Take podcast that he was going to do a deal before he even texted me. So I was like, I watched the video and I was like, I guess we're doing the deal. So yeah, that was really cool. I mean, it was a really cool experience all around. I mean, it's crazy. You see the Grit Factory hats literally being worn all over campus right now, being worn at basketball games. I get random Snapchats from teammates who are of like people wearing it like at restaurants. And there was a guy that walked in our sauna yesterday wearing one. And I was like, dude, that is awesome. That's really cool. And so, I mean, it's a brand that like, I feel like everybody can get behind on and support. I mean, how can you talk trash about grit? You can't, because grit is about digging deep from when you fail. That's what grit is all about, and digging deep and still finding a way to overcome failure or overcome adversity. And I mean, you can't hate on it. You can't hate on grit. So it's really cool. It's a really cool brand that I want it to stick around Wisconsin, and hopefully I can make that happen at some point.
All right. So what's the defensive back's favorite play?
Favorite play call?
Well, more like just like what's their favorite play in general? Like I'm basically looking for a pick six here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say definitely a pick six would be a DB's favorite play.
So that's what we're actually going to close the segment out with. We're doing a pick six. It's just 6 quick fire questions. I truthfully don't know why I came up with these questions, but hey, they're there. All right. So obviously Texas guy in Wisconsin. Let's go with the top two burger, the top burger joints of both states. Whataburger versus Culver's.
Whataburger, 100%. I'll forever stand by that.
Oh my God. See, both those places are 1A and 1B for me. I refuse to say what's 1A. What's your go-to Whataburger order?
Gosh, probably the A1 thick and hearty.
Yeah, that's a big
or
one.
The sweet and spicy bacon burger for sure. But then you can add in the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. You can add in the honey butter chicken biscuit for a late night snack. I mean, Whataburger's got quality, size of burger. They have variety. I don't know how you can beat that.
All right, I have a question. So if you could sign an NI deal with any local business, whether in Houston or Wisconsin, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. Gosh. I'd probably, I don't know why I keep thinking about this. Probably BB's Cafe. I don't know if you've been to BB's. It's a Tex Orleans restaurant. They make great crawfish back in Texas, back in the Houston area. I don't know, that's a tough question, but that was the first one that came to mind. I love crawfish. I love how BB's makes it. Um, every time I go home, I always got to get the crawfish from there. So I would probably say that.
Okay. What about who's the best player you ever played with? Just in your whole career, it can be high school, college, doesn't matter.
Best player I ever played with, probably Leo Chanel, our
Really?
linebacker right now.
You played
Yep.
with Ed Oliver too,
Yeah, Ed Oliver is pretty freaking special too. They're both really close. I would say they're both really really close. But I'd probably say Leo Chanel. That guy
He's
obviously
a freaking freak. That's what he is.
he is a freak. I remember him coming into Wisconsin. His first play, he was running when we were both twos at the time. We were both running with the twos, and it's his first play. We got refs out there, and I mean it was kind of like not a scrimmage, but we just had it was trying to make it more realistic. And all of a sudden, he's just like, "You're dead. You're all dead." Just screaming, just pacing across the field. And nobody really knows him that well at the time. So we're all looking, even the refs look at him like, what is wrong with this kid? And the guy is a monster, but I don't know if y'all watched much or the entire Minnesota game. But I mean, if you break down the tape, he does something ridiculously freakish every single game. But versus Minnesota, it was the last play of the first half. He was like taking on a block, spins off the block, and he has his back turned towards his back is facing the running back, and he tackles him, wrapping his arms around the guy's body with his back turned. He tackled him with his back. I don't know. Y'all got to pull up the play at some point and go find
Seems
it.
dangerous.
It is the most ridiculous play I've ever seen.
You literally just told us your back injury. I mean, do you think you can get one right there?
Well, it was more of like, it wasn't like 10 yards and 10 yards colliding. It was more like, let me get off this block. And the guy's, he's already on me. He ended up like wrapping his arms around him with his back turned. And he had like spun him around and still like wrapped him up and took him down. It was a ridiculous play. But he makes those day in, day out. I mean, the guy is like 260 pounds. He can hit 21 miles per hour. There's a video of him cleaning like 365 pounds, but when he cleaned it, he fell to one knee on accident, picked himself back up, and front squatted all the way back up. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But when it comes to playing football, that guy is a playmaker. I mean, you can put him probably anywhere on the field, and he's going to make plays for you. So I mean, I've had a blast playing with that guy.
It seems impossible that he only had 2 scholarship offers coming out of high school. It was only Wisconsin and South Dakota State.
It's wild to me. It is truly wild. But I mean, the guy he comes from a really small town, and because of him and his brother, I don't hate on small town football anymore. I don't hate on him because I mean they were bullying everybody in high school, but I mean his talent is absolutely through the roof, and it's been really fun to play with that guy. I mean, just a freak of nature.
Okay, here's one. This is a little bit relative to the Las Vegas Bowl coming up. Has Paul Chris said anything about players being allowed to gamble while in Las Vegas?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're over 21, saying like, yeah, you can gamble. You can go run the tables, do what you want. Obviously within like curfew and all that. But I was told, which was a fun fact I didn't know, is if you are, this is what the staff told me. They're like, make sure you go and you tell the players, which I still need to make sure I tell these guys. But if you are under 21 and you are caught gambling in the hotel, you cannot live there anymore. Like you will be kicked out of the hotel. It's like it's like a Nevada rule. Like if you were caught gambling under the age of 21, they said, look, we do not have a place to give you. So make sure you tell your teammates that if, like, don't even try it. Don't even try to sneak in and play a game or get a game in if you're under 21. or else you will not have a place to stay in the middle of Las Vegas by law. So we're gonna gamble responsibly. We're gonna take it very seriously. But yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with playing some craps or playing some roulette here and there. While during our stay.
Bet against Minnesota in their bowl game. I forgot they're in the guaranteed rate bowl. I'm just kidding. Do you know what it's not one of the questions, but like, do you know which hotel you guys are staying at right now?
I heard it was the Mandalay Bay. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, damn, y'all got it good.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Best pizza in Madison. Is it Ian's Pizza or is it Sal's Tomato Pies?
To be honest with you, I've never had Sal's.
It's better than Ian's.
You think it's better than Ian's?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it because I really like Ian's. I think Ian's their barbecue chicken pizza is incredible.
People love their mac and cheese pizza. I know that.
Mac and cheese pizza is very good also. Yeah. So I would say Ian's, but I can't make that debate when I haven't had Sal's yet. So that'll be next on my list.
All right.
All right. Last one. I'm not sure if you were old enough to go out when you went to college in Houston. I'm sure you did, but we're not going to talk about that just in case. I want to know, what's your favorite place when you're stepping out, you and your teammates, where do y'all want to cut loose at? And what in Madison and in Houston, what's your favorite spot?
Gosh, the thing is, I really didn't go out much in Houston, to be honest with you. I mean, it was so much. The thing about Houston is like, it's not a college town. So it's when you want to go out, you got to go out like in the city, and there's like grown people like being at the same bar that you may want to go out to or whatever it is. So I just did house parties when I was at Houston. And I did house parties with my teammates. So I will say I couldn't even answer you that for Houston because I really didn't go out. But for here in Wisconsin, I mean, there's a lot of popular places. I think the place that me and my boys go to and pretty consistently the most is College Club. It's called the KK.
Yeah.
But yeah, they call it the College Club. It's very, to me, I like it better because one, obviously I'll go wherever my friends want to go, wherever my boys want to go, I'm going. But it's more spacious because there's a lot of bars here that you can be jam packed in, especially on a Saturday night after a game. But the KK, I mean, it's a lot more spacious, and it seems to be that's where more of like the athletes go to hang out on the weekends. So I'd probably say that's probably the number one spot. I'm not saying I go out a ton. So I honestly like staying in and like bringing the guys over to my apartment. We end up having a good time here and just hanging out, and we end up doing whatever, whether guys want to have a drink or not. We end up kind of just doing it in my apartment. So, but if I do step out with the boys, it's definitely the KK.
Okay, because I was gonna say when I was there a couple weeks ago, we couldn't find any place to get in because everything was just so packed. So we actually had to go to Scotty Bar. Now
Okay.
I know we already went through 6, but I just got to make sure how Wisconsin night you are now. What was your reaction to eating a cheese curd, a brat, and a spotted cow?
Yeah. So I'm not really a beer guy. So when I drink spotted cow, like to me, like from like my dad. So when my dad comes to town, he buys so much spotted cow and puts it in our fridge to make sure he always has spotted cow ready to go when he gets here. So my dad's a big spotted cow fan. So I'm not hating on beer at all. Probably discrediting me being in Wisconsin when saying I'm not a beer guy, but I'm really not. But cheese curds, I mean, I love cheese curds, and the more that I've lived here now, the more I can actually judge how good a cheese curd is and like who has the best cheese curds. So we actually went to this place called the Bonfire Grill, me and my best friends a couple weeks ago. I mean, they were legit melt in your mouth. It's called the Bonfire Grill. I don't know if you've been there before.
I'm gonna write it down.
It's called the Bonfire Grill. The best cheese curds I've ever had. Legit, like you put it in your mouth, you get the crunch from the fried part of it, and just melt in your mouth. It's incredible. The old fashioned, great cheese curds as well. The one near the restaurant near the Capitol, really good.
And how about the brat?
Oh, the brat. Yeah. So I think my first brat was at a tailgate for the Brewers game. And I thought it was really good. But again, like we don't do brats in Texas. Like that's just not really hasn't really been our it's not really just not it's not a thing. So I think I like it better than hot dogs because you got a smoky flavor to it. You get more full out of it. It's a little thicker than a hot dog. I'm a big fan of brats. I do like brats.
I gotta tell you something. Whenever I send a text like to my friends and I say like, "Hey, I'm gonna have brats tonight," they're like, "What the hell's a brat?" And I'm like, "My girlfriend who's literally in the next room. Like, when I told her that I went to Wisconsin, she was like, she looked at me and did that. She's like, "What's a cheese curd?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got some changing to do to you right now." But
Like a lot. I haven't
yeah.
heard of the first two, y'all. I've never heard of those two things. So
You
I know what a
never
brat
heard of a
is.
cheese curd?
I have no clue what that is.
Really? It's literally just it's like a piece of cheese like this big, and most of the time like they fry it. So like it's just fried cheese, little fried cheese bites. Basically all it is. But like here, it's like anywhere, any restaurant you go to, they have it.
And
And
it's a state staple. Like you
Yeah.
go up there and you tell them that you don't like cheese curds, they're gonna look at you like you're weird. They're gonna look at you like you're from Chicago.
And then I don't know if you're a
Interesting.
big beer guy, but Spotted Cow is basically the most popular beer here. And I would say like most popular and like what Wisconsin's the most pride on the Spotted Cow.
I'm a big beer guy, so I'm gonna check that out when I get a chance.
If you're a big beer guy, I highly recommend you. You can't get it anywhere else but in Wisconsin. That's the thing. That's what makes it special.
That's true. Like there was a border town in Minnesota that got caught selling it, like literally on the border, like right across Mississippi River. They got caught selling it, and they literally had to get law enforcement in there. Like it's that big of a deal. But yeah, I think we got to the conclusion of this. Adam, what you got for Collin before we close this out?
Nothing, man. Collin, has been a pleasure. One of the most coolest people at we've talked to yet. Purchase the merch at
I
Grit
appreciate
Factory.
that.
Get the
Yeah.
merch, you know.
Yeah,
Last
we
thing-
got hats and we got shirts and hoodies.
Yeah.
Last
of
thing,
merch.
Adam's a Dallas guy. I'm obviously a Houston guy. Dallas's best team is playing Houston's best team. North Shore versus Duncanville. Who wins?
I'm gonna support my Houston boys. I gotta support the boys from Houston, even though
Coach
North Shore.
Sam. What about Coach
I
Sam?
know. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me
I'm
wrong.
gonna tell him you
but,
said
you know,
that. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna tell him. I got Rashard's
there's always
number. I'm gonna text
a
him.
Dallas versus Houston rivalry in Texas high school. You know, I gotta stay true to my roots. Gotta stay true.
All right, we'll see. We'll see what
It'll be a
happens.
good game. Yeah, I can't wait to watch. I'll be tuned
Did
in.
you see the 2019 ending? The Hail Mary?
Yeah. That's right. That's their first time playing since then, probably, right?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Yeah, it'll be good. That'll be good. I can't wait.
All right, man. Collin, it's been a pleasure. This was a lot of fun, man. I mean, I know we said 30 minutes, and I know we went well over that, just a couple minutes over that, hour essentially. But nah, man, this is a lot of fun, man. Thanks a lot for the info, and yeah, just thanks again. Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah. No, I truly enjoyed it. So thank y'all for having me on. And if there's anything else I can do for y'all, just let me know.
All right. Actually, one last thing. Drop your Twitter handles, your social media. We gotta follow you. We gotta follow you there.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Perfect.
It's at Wilder Collin. Just his name, just his last name, first name. That's it. Give him a follow. Best of luck to you.
Yeah. At Wilder Collin. My bad. Yeah, for sure.
And buy your Grit Factory merchandise. All right, we're gonna work out a deal here. We want to work out another deal. We can do something here. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's stuff going on. If y'all want to follow that, it's at the Grit Factory _. So that's all it is. That's where you can find merch and find all that good stuff.
All right, I'm definitely gonna head over to that, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to Collin once again, and y'all have a great night.
Yeah, y'all too. I appreciate y'all.